Today, of course, is April Fool's Day. No one seems to know who started it, but nearly everyone in the world celebrates it, and some influencers use it not to have fun, but to give warning. Good afternoon, this is another Declaration of Truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut, and in this video we're going to look back at April Fool's Day. I'm going to talk about the 10 biggest April Fool's pranks of all time, about 2 pranks that failed big time for the companies that started them, and 1 prank that is not so much prank, but warning of something that might really happen. And stick with me to the very end, because I will have a very special announcement to make. Now, before we get into this any deeper, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description, and to the awesome CNAV Store. Again, scroll all the way down, you'll see that link. Lots of merchandise there, including this t-shirt, Rhino Hunting. Check it out. 1 shirt for men or women, in black, navy, or white, and in all sizes. Look for this and all sorts of clothing and accessories with a conservative theme. All right, everyone, let the fun and games begin. No one seems to know definitively when or how April Fool's Day began. It could date back to the Roman festival of Hilaria. This festival took place about 4 days before the calends of April, the calends being the first day of the month. And at the time, 4 days before the calends was the day after the vernal equinox. So the festival meant, spring is here, let's all give a cheer. Which is what hilarious literally means. It comes from the Greek adjective meaning cheerful. Now, all you Roman scholars out there, yes, 4 or 5 days before the calends of April didn't always mark the vernal equinox. It didn't when several pontifices maximi forgot to throw in an extra 2 weeks after February every now and again to keep the calendar in synchrony with the seasons. The first Pontifex Maximus to fix that for all time was Julius Caesar, and even his calendar slowly drifted out of sync until Pope Gregory IX reformed the calendar yet again. Which brings us to the other theory of April Fool's Day, namely that in 1582, when continental Europe switched over from the Julian to the Gregorian, some people were slow to make the change. Part of the change was to declare that the new year would take place on January 1st instead of March 1st. So when people didn't like that idea, others called them April Fools. But you can find references to April Fool's Day in the Middle Ages, so it likely started earlier. This is all perfectly true, by the way. You can read it for yourselves in USA Today and National World, and even in NPR. Now, most people don't know this, but you're not supposed to continue an April Fool's Day prank past noon. If you do, you are the April Fool, not your target. In France, they call it April Fish Day. Pranksters will paste paper fish on people's backs and then run away crying, April fish, or rather, Poisson d'Avril, which is how you say it in French. And from the Gaston Times and Lifestyle Asia, as well as USA Today, come lists of the biggest April Fool's Day pranks of all time. Some of these are really hilarious, if you'll pardon that Greco-Latin pun. Like the time the BBC convinced viewers that spaghetti grows on trees. Or whether Taco Bell bought the Liberty Bell. Then we hear the one about the Alabama legislature voting to make pie and even 3. Lifestyle Asia thinks that started in 1998, but that one's been around since the 60s. I know, because I heard it in geography class back when they still called it junior high. And then we have Swedish television telling people how to watch a black and white show in color. An iceberg in Sydney Harbor. Rich Little giving his Richard Nixon impression in 1992, saying Nixon would throw his hat in the ring. The fake story of the Wisconsin Capitol dome collapsing. Jupiter and Pluto aligning to lessen the gravity of Earth so that you could float. A digital Big Ben. And the Sports Illustrated deepfake about Sid Finch, who was supposed to have the most wicked fastball of all time. But sometimes the prankster is the April Fool, like Volkswagen concern announcing last year that they would change their American brand name to Volkswagen. People took them seriously until they had to fess up, and then, what a letdown. And does anyone remember the Google Mail mic drop? You get an email and it comes with a GIF of Despicable Me dropping a microphone. In case you didn't know, GIF is the only graphical format that does animation because it's a layered graphic. The problem was someone at Google forgot to turn it off. So here you are trying to send a serious message and it comes through with Despicable Me dropping a mic. I mean, there's a time and a place, right? But now we come to one of my favorite influencers, Joseph R. Mercola Dio. He is the bane of conventional medicine. His one video that sums it all up is his Town of Allopath video. Perfect! A send-up of the medical establishment, the FDA, and Big Pharma, and a plug for simple and time-honored remedies. Skidmark's disease! You wish that were a joke. It isn't. But today, he released an article he intended not as a prank, but a warning. His newsletter hits your inbox and you read, FDA to ban real meat in 2024. The gist of it is, Bill Gates has been promoting his genetically engineered sheet mushroom as a meat substitute. So the FDA is going to ban actual meat in 2024 to strike a blow against climate change. It dovetails brilliantly with AOC's Green New Deal. The good news is that the FDA has made no such plan that we know about. Hey, it's April Fool's Day. The bad news is that Bill Gates really has been promoting a genetically modified sheet mushroom and does want you to eat that instead of real meat. Go to rumble.com. You'll find his video telling you why he's doing it, and Dinesh D'Souza also weighing in about a real-life scheme to promote this mushroom. You see, not only is it real, but IKEA is extruding this out of a 3D printer and recruiting staff to sample it. And that is not an April Fool's Day joke. Well, by the way, while I'm on the subject, I have a novel out in ebook last Tuesday, and it will be out in paperback on April 5th. The title, Matthew's Run. It depicts the kind of future Bill Gates, again, no joke, would like to make real. In the world of 24/17, all your food comes out of the ultimate 3D printer. No real meat, no real fish, not even real lettuce or tomato. The only thing is, all the printers lace all food and drink with an antipsychotic drug to keep you quiet. But then the society does a foolish thing. They build a cyborg as a prototype for a super soldier to wipe out the enemies of the state. And as a cyborg, he doesn't have to eat. No drug for him. And one day, he has a crisis of conscience. So what does he do about it? Just imagine. Then go to wherever ebooks or paperbacks are sold, order it, and find out. So that's our history of April Fool's Day with memorable pranks and a prank that serves to warn you. And do check out that novel. Read it now while you can be sure it's still fiction, like the FDA banning real meat by 2024. And this is definitely no joke. The only way to stop that kind of ugliness is with your vote. Link in the description to the article where you can play all the videos I mentioned, from Town of Battlepath to spaghetti growing on trees to Bill Gates' sheet mushroom. You'll also find the awesome online store. This is Terry A. Hurwitz delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free. Goodbye now, and happy April Fool's Day, or what